Hey guys, this is going to be a quick guide on how to beat the Lich for newer players that are stuck on him. I know I haven't made any new content in a while since I've been a little unmotivated, but I figured with the recent Epic Games re-release there'd be, an influx of newer players, and I've had a few requests in the past to do a Lich guide, so here it is, yeah. Let's get started. So phase 1 is pretty simple. He really only has like 4 attacks, and I'll share my methods here of dodging them. So in general though, you do want to stay far away from him, and a simple trick that I use is to stay near the walls. You'll see why this is helpful for some of his attacks. So his first attack is this ring of bullets that he shoots out. You're going to be tempted to dodge inwards toward him, to dodge over them, but you shouldn't do this because it's a trap actually. Your roll will actually carry you into his next wave of bullets. So instead, you should either dodge side to side, like parallel to the rings, or dodge backwards into a wall. And when you dodge into a wall, it basically lets you dodge in place without moving, and it's very helpful for this fight. You can also do a mix of both. Sometimes the situation will call for it if he overlaps certain attacks. And this dodging to the wall is a very important technique, and a big part of like my strategy that helps make this fight a lot easier. His next attack is when he reaches for his hip in like this quick draw motion. When you see him do this, he'll either shoot a homing bullet or a bunch of bullets really quickly. So for this, I try to move sideways and react to what he does. If he does a homing bullet, it's just rolling through it toward him, and if it's the waves, you can generally roll through it or to the side, depending on like the situation. Another attack that he can do is like this spiral attack. It's very easy to avoid just by sidestepping. Try to avoid rolling at all during this so that you don't accidentally roll into a bullet or put yourself in a bad position. If the spiral bends, you can just move around the bend usually, so yeah, pretty simple attack to avoid. This next attack is probably his hardest for this phase. It's when he shoots a wave of bullets that come with bouncy bullets. So for this, I would also recommend hugging the wall while trying to stay perpendicular to the wave. So hugging the wall helps, since if you dodge like the first bouncy wave, you don't have to dodge it a second time when it bounces back, since you'll already be next to the wall. And he'll often layer another attack immediately after this, which can be pretty hard to avoid, dodging both of these at once. So if you have the extra blinks, this could be a really good time to use it if you need to. So his last thing is when he summons these 4 tombstones. Focus these guys as soon as possible because they shoot directly at you, and on their own they're not hard to avoid. But when he summons these guys and they start shooting with his attacks, it can be really hard to dodge because their attacks will overlap with his and just make it really painful to avoid. So if you have any high damage weapons, I would definitely recommend using them here to just quickly clear these guys out as soon as possible. So phase 2 is probably his most difficult phase, but fortunately it's also his lowest HP phase. I'd highly recommend using your highest DPS guns here to end it as soon as possible, as he has some unpredictable attacks during this phase. In terms of where you want to position yourself, make sure to stay near the center of the arena and hug the back wall. Staying near the center is very important for this phase because a few of his attacks come from the sides of the arena, so being in the center will give you more time to react. Also staying near the back will also give you more time to react because some of his attacks will just come from where he's standing, so obviously you don't want to be near him when that happens. So one of his main attacks is when he raises his hand and slams it. So when he does this, a wave of bullets will come out from where he's standing, and then a second wave will come out from the side that he slammed his hand. So if he raises his hand on the right, it'll come from the right and vice versa. So you should be able to avoid the first wave without having to roll at all, just by moving in between the gaps that you see. For the wave that comes from the side, move to the opposite side of the arena and pay attention to which bullets are flashing and small. So these small flashy ones will disappear about halfway through the arena, and you should look for a safe spot to roll through for the remaining bullets. So if you do this properly, this attack should be relatively easy to dodge. So his most famous attack during this phase is the crossing lines. So there's 2 easy ways to dodge this. So the first is to move around in a rectangular motion, moving the same direction as the line coming towards you, and then switching rows when it starts to catch up to you. The other way is to simply roll through the oncoming line, making sure to move back so that you can give yourself time to roll through the next one. You can also kind of combine these methods together based on whatever you prefer. If you're not comfortable with dodging this attack, since you have to be a little bit precise with when you time your rolls and when your movement, you could also just blank here. A lot of people use their blanks here. It's really up to you. So he has 2 attacks that he can do when he opens his ribcage. The first is this wave of squeaky bullets, followed by a bunch more single waves that loosely track you. So this attack is very unpredictable, but a method that I found works most of the time for me is to roll backwards into the wall to avoid the initial wave, similar to how in the first phase you can roll into the wall to dodge the rings of bullets, and then moving to the left or the right and rolling if I have to avoid the single waves. You won't be able to dodge this 100% of the time since it's kind of random, but this method works very well for me. If somebody has like a better method, please like leave a comment or something because I'm curious as well. So the second ribcage attack that he can do is these circles that he shoots at you. The way I dodge this attack is to move to one side of the arena to attract the circles, and then I dodge roll back towards the center of the arena to avoid the remaining circles. This is good because it makes this attack easy to dodge, but it also helps you stay in the center. And the reason why you want to stay in the center is because when he does this attack, sometimes he can start the next attack before this attack is fully over. So the circles will still be out and he'll start the next attack. This isn't really a problem for a lot of attacks since usually there will be a bit of wind up and you'll have time to still avoid it. But for the lines attack in particular, they can overlap in a way that's nearly impossible to avoid, and it's really annoying. So if you see him do this, don't be afraid to use your blanks here. It's just a very tough attack to avoid. And overall, just make sure you don't panic if you see him do this. Even if you get hit once, it's usually fine. Just make sure you don't get hit more than once. Alright, so phase 3 is a little bit easier than phase 2 in my opinion, but he still has quite a few dangerous attacks, which I will show you how to avoid. The main tip I would have is just to position yourself to his left or his right whenever you can, and also to be very careful of standing at a diagonal to him, as quite a few of his attacks shoot out lines in these 4 diagonals, and they can be hard to react to. So now I'll show you his attacks in this phase and how I prefer to dodge them. Alright, so starting with an easy one, he jumps to the top of the arena and then shoots these quick lines of bullets to the left and the right as he goes down and then back up again. So this is pretty easy to avoid. Just roll towards the direction that he's coming from. The timing on this isn't really strict at all, so don't like overthink it. And you can pretty much just use this attack to just get some free damage in. Yeah. So this next attack isn't too bad either. It's just this attack where he shoots these bursts of bullets above and below him while also alternating this wave to the left and the right. So this is part of the reason why standing to his left or his right is the best, as if you're directly above or below him, the attack can be pretty hard to dodge on short notice. So just roll through the waves when they reach you and you should pretty much be fine. So there's these 3 attacks he can do where he makes these shapes of bullets with his hand. The first one is like this boomerang he throws at you. To dodge this, you just gotta roll through the boomerang when it comes at you, and then you should be able to sidestep it on the way back. Just make sure to keep an eye on it so it doesn't like surprise you when it's coming back. Another possible attack is when he creates a rocket and throws it out. The rocket curves out and then shoots towards you while also shooting bullets behind it as it moves. This attack is easier to avoid than it looks, but it's a little bit counterintuitive, so when he shoots the rocket out, wait a second or two before actually moving towards the gap where he shot it from. And when it curves back toward you, you'll be safe in like the bend of the rocket, and there won't be any bullets there. So it's a little bit easier to explain if I show some examples as well, so yeah, take a look at these. So his last shape attack is pretty simple. He forms like this gun and then it scatters directly at you. So to avoid this, you can just move to the side and try not to roll to avoid it. But this attack doesn't really have a lot of end lag, so just make sure to keep an eye on him since he might be telegraphing his next attack while you're kind of busy avoiding this one. So this next attack isn't too bad, but it lasts a super long time, and he does use it quite a bit, so it's very important to get good at dodging this one. It's the one where he jumps to the center of the screen and then fills the arena with bullets, except for like this safe triangle that rotates around him. So as you're rotating around him, there's going to be these blinking lines of bullets in front of you that you have to roll over, as well as a wave of bullets that comes up from behind you. So it's important to stay at a medium distance from him so that your roll has enough space to land safely. So if you're too far, you'll land in the bullet wedge, and too close, you'll roll into the massive bullets. This is for the wave that comes up behind you, and then at the end of the attack, he'll launch all of the bullets directly away from him, so be aware of this so you don't run into it at the end. This attack lasts pretty long, and it'll be your best chance to do a lot of DPS to him, so I would advise not using a blink on this just to get in the maximum damage. So I mentioned earlier that you want to avoid being diagonal to him, and this next attack he does is a good example of why. If he shoots out these 4 lines diagonally very quickly, which I personally find pretty hard to react to, and then follows up with more lines at random directions. He'll then rotate these lines around him, much like the previous attack. This part's pretty simple though, so all you gotta do is get up close to him, and then rotate around him. So if you see a line as well that's catching up to you from behind, you can roll through that as well. But it's not too complicated, you just gotta stay close to him and rotate around him. Alright, so this last attack is what I also consider to be his hardest. So similar to the previous attack, he shoots lines of bullets diagonally, but now the extra lines that he shoots out after the first 4 just form random lines across the arena, and then individual bullets will break off from these lines and target you. So for this attack, I try to either sidestep the bullets as they approach me or to roll between the safe pockets. If you have any blanks available, I would highly recommend just using one here, as you're going to need to be able to react pretty quickly in this part, and it would just be easier to blank it. Alright, so I'm going to be doing a run through of the boss and kind of just going over, basically review everything I talked about, and just doing all 3 phases. So for this fight, I'm going to give myself the AK and 2 heart containers, and just have 2 blanks. So the reason I give myself an AK is because I think at this point you should probably have, you know, a gun that does decent damage. The AK isn't the best, and the reason why I'm using the AK actually is that in the wiki it says that the developers use the AK to kind of like get a feel for how balanced the bosses were, so this is the gun they used to really test it out. So let's just say, like, assume that you have an AK in this situation. So yeah, here's going to be my demonstration of the boss fight. Let's get started. So for phase 1, like I said, you want to stay far away from him, and you want to make sure you use the wall to roll into it and to kill his summons as fast as possible. So let's get started. So yeah, I'm just going to shoot at him, and I'm going to stick to the bottom right corner here. Alright, so he's summoning, so we want to kill these guys as fast as possible. Don't want them to stack up. He shoots at me, it's fine. Get ready to dodge into the wall, it's fine. See, this attack's very easy to dodge if there's nothing overlapping with it. Kind of a weird pattern he did there. Alright, so like I said again, just dodge into the wall. Should be good. Just make sure to check out that there's no bullets coming in the way to prevent you from doing that, or, you know, putting you in danger. Alright, so bouncing bullets. This attack's kind of tricky, but looks like we're able to dodge it without too much difficulty. Dodge sideways for this one and roll into this wall. Like, you can roll sideways to it too. It's a, you know, preference. I prefer rolling into the wall because it's a little simpler. I don't have to look up, think as hard, and it makes my life easier. Homing bullet, we just roll through. Very simple. Kill these tombstones. Alright, bouncing bullets. This can be a little difficult, but looks like we're good. The bouncing bullet attack is very dangerous potentially if he combines it with other attacks, which you saw there was a little dangerous, but we were able to get through it luckily. Summoning again. This guy is summoning a lot. It's really annoying. Okay. Yeah, these guys are dangerous because they can add attacks that really mess with the lineup of what he's doing. Just gonna avoid all of these. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't get hit there. Normally I would get hit there. Roll into the wall. See, there we go. That's an example of the tombstone really messing with you, and I actually took 2 hits there. Pretty bad. Yeah, they're dangerous enemies. You definitely want to, you know, clear them out. It makes your life way easier. Sometimes, like, if you have like a good weapon, like a Mega Hand or something like that, you probably want to use that instead. AK is very low DPS, and I don't have any damage buffs actually. I just have the base items, so that's why it takes a while to kill them. But hopefully at this point you have some buffs, make this fight a little easier, and yeah. So we're almost done with the first phase. Should have it done here. Yeah, so we got through first phase, you know, only got hit twice. Let's just give myself ammo here. I'm using the mod the Gungeon to give me ammo, but yeah. So second phase, stay far away from him near the center, and kind of use the advice that I talked about to help dodge some of his attacks. If you have to, I would recommend using a blank for certain attacks, like the one where the bullets come from the sides. Alright, so using this attack, we run to one side, and then roll back towards the center. Very nice. So I got through that one pretty easily. Luckily, his second phase has the least amount of HP, so using this information, you want to kind of focus. Oh, I got hit there. That's not good. You want to kind of focus it down as fast as possible. I'm going to roll through this last wave, like that. Yep. so this attack's pretty easy. Like I said, just run to one side and avoid that bullet and those bullets. Alright, so I'm gonna juke to one side and... Oh, I got hit there. That was bad. Roll back to the other. I really got hit there too, wow. I'm not playing well. I'm a bit rusty. Alright, so dodge this attack and roll through like this. Pretty simple. He's getting low, so hopefully we can finish this fight pretty soon. At least this phase. I'm gonna blink here because I messed up. Should probably use my blinks a little bit more when I don't feel confident that I can dodge, but yeah. Yep, so run away from these until I can roll through. Yeah. So we have 3 HP left. I haven't played this fight super well, I will admit. But hopefully we can, clutch this last phase. He is a bit tanky, but we'll see what we can do. So like I said, move towards the rocket, and you should be able to dodge this attack. Gonna stay away from him when he does this chain thing, and stay close to him as he rotates so that we can easily avoid what he's doing. Alright, so he's doing the zone on me. When he jumps in the center, you know that he's going to do that attack. So you want to make sure that you're not moving too much so you don't run into when he summons that big wall of bullets. Just easily avoid the waves. See this wave in front of me, I can just roll through it. And he's doing another back wave, so you just roll through that as well. This attack is probably his easiest one, and it's a really good opportunity to do a lot of damage to him. Alright, so he's doing this attack. This attack's very easy to dodge. Just roll through sideways. Alright, he's shooting bullets at me. Ooh, I rolled off accidentally. Oops. But yeah, he's rotating again. This is another good attack to get some damage on him. Yeah, pretty simple. Shooting a rocket. So like I said, move towards the rocket so that you can go past it like this. Another rocket. We want to move towards that when we can. And I wasn't able to, so I'm going to blank here because I don't feel comfortable. Oh, and we actually blanked him at the perfect time, which is really lucky for us. And he's getting very low here, so there we go. So actually what happened in that last attack was I blinked right before he started the attack. So if you do that, like there's a very small timing where if you blink before he does the attack, it'll actually delete all the bullets, but it won't cancel the attack. So he'll just keep spinning there, even though there's no bullets on screen. That attack's very easy to dodge. I wasn't really in any danger, but yeah, you definitely want to capitalize on when he does that. That's the easiest time to get a lot of damage in, and I would say that I didn't play this fight amazingly, but if you follow all the tips that I gave, and you give it a little bit of practice and a few more tries, you should have it in no time. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, good luck.